That being said, we're still 57 days out from the election. It's not like we're, up by 20 points or something. This race can absolutely go either way.
My first campaign check. This is the biggest check I have ever written in my life. Came from selling Bitcoin and Pokemon cards.
So I first found Joe on Instagram, actually. So, we talked about politics in Philly. I told him my dad was a cop, his dad was a firefighter, and, we hit it off, right? There was a lot of commonalities there. And, a month goes by and, I'm working on the campaign, right?
Started out just like all of you. I was in high school. I knocked doors for, Frank Barry, for Brian O'Neill. Basically the nuts and bolts of the process, like what you guys are doing. Politics is this very thing where literally just you, two friends, and you decide to engage politically together, you can make a huge difference.
So a day in the early life of the campaign, we would pick an area that we had data for, and we would go and we would knock doors for probably about 6 hours.
The original handout that we had was an open letter from Joe to the community, and it was a sheet of paper that was saying hey, so I'm Joe Picozzi. Here's my story.
It was very, very grassrootsy.
Crazy to think too, it used to be a piece of paper that we handed out.
Josh was out knocking doors with me yesterday, right? I can hit 40% more doors with one volunteer, 60% more doors with 2 volunteers. There's a huge difference on a campaign.
We did what we could with what we had, and what we had was a printer, and what we had wasn't a message.
The third principle of the new politics is to focus on the possible. You easily get lost in these sort of macro global schemes of, world events and all this stuff. Look, you're not going to fix that. That's not going to happen. What you can actually do is get involved right here, right? What's going wrong right here around Temple? What's going wrong in your neighborhood?
Yeah, there's a lot of people here who didn't want him to run because it would disrupt kind of a uniparty stranglehold on Philadelphia politics.
In the very beginning, not everyone thought they had a chance, especially the Republicans, actually. And that's just not true. That's not true because we're doing it a different way. We're doing something new.
At the time, not even at the time, still, people write us off for how young we are or how young Joe is.
The Northeast and just Philadelphia in general has an accountability issue.
It's not like we're working with someone who's currently in office or is, some big shot politician. No, it's a guy who wants to be a politician and a bunch of people who think he should be, in office. That's literally our campaign.
This city's been run by the same club of people for a very long time. You can all see it. The faces change, but the special interests that fund them is the same thing. The main reason I became a Republican is because I felt like one party ruling the city for 72 years now has been a failure. And the reason it's been a failure is because there's no accountability. When you don't have accountability, guess what you have? You have corruption, you have entrenchment, you have laziness, you have decadence. I think we've seen all of them.
The whole idea of the campaign of service is to be a campaign that responds to the needs of the community. Joe always says he wants to campaign how he wants to govern, which is responding to the community's needs and desires.
We can just take accountability here. We're not going to wait for the city to do it. We're not going to wait for the government to do it. We're not going to wait for a politician to do it.
We give out ring cameras. We give out food. We go around. We pick up trash.
One of our main questions at the doors is what do you want to see change?
There's no promise thing that Joe's going to win, but while we're here, we're going to do something that actually matters.
So the core ethos of my campaign has always been, how can we use the resources we're bringing in to already start to revitalize Northeast Philadelphia?
I feel like the more you talk to people and the more in tune you are with their requests in general, the easier it is to go along with the campaign of service concept, because you start understanding what people want.
It took us, 2 hours? How long do you think it took to actually accumulate all that trash?
What time is it? Years. These young men and ladies came out today to clean up Edmond Street. It's been a big problem of the city coming out to clean the park. I call, I give them my name, my address, and my phone number, but no one never comes. So it's really sad.
Somebody must have stolen his car. Some people left it here, ripped everything out of it. Now they left it here for a reason. They felt like because it's dirty, because it's filthy, I can just leave this car here. That's the idea of broken windows theory. When a neighborhood looks bad, when there's abandoned buildings, broken windows, people feel permission structure to commit crimes. That's gonna be one of my main focuses representing Northeast Philadelphia. We need to make sure the neighborhood looks beautiful because it keeps us safe.
10 of us in this room, what can we literally physically do now? We have to be really grounded in that, while also keeping our aspirations sort of to what can be, right? Because when you start doing this, it's what Václav Havel called prefigurative politics, where you basically are embodying the new values, the sort of new world that you want to see happen, right? And you embody it, you build the new world within the shell of the old one. I have a quote from Václav Havel actually written down here. Hope is not a feeling of certainty that everything ends well. Hope is a feeling that life and work have a meaning. And we recently got to bring on some kids. And now I don't believe in unpaid labor. You know, if you want to volunteer for me, it's great, but I'm going to try to pay you, unless you're really, really forceful about not taking my money. I pay all of our staff, all of our college kids, all of our high school kids. Wait, why don't we just leave this room? I'll give you my card too. She wants to.
What do you want to see change?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, make it safer around here for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much crime going on. Too many shootings and stuff in the neighborhood.
But I'm just saying, I'm 54 years old, dog. I've been in the city all my life. Kids even, they don't even come outside.
Yeah.
Because you gonna hear the gunshots, you gonna see some nonsense. You don't want your kids coming up around that type of shit. You understand?
I knocked on a door of this family. She said, my grandson's bed, his pillow, had a bullet, a stray bullet fly into it through one of the walls.
And then it's just like, we have a girl on the campaign who was grazed by the bullet not that long ago in the district.
And for me, just seeing how much things had changed from when I was in high school until now was just incredibly jarring for me. And, and as I've been doing this, I'm learning more and more. I'm meeting thousands of people, and I'm just hearing really serious, often heart-wrenching stories about what's going on in Northeast Philly.
How do I put it? The difference of how the campaign looked in early May to late August is astounding. It is absolutely astounding.
In the beginning of the summer, like, it was literally like Joe, me, Shane, Gianni, and like Anya, and a few other people. If I'm correct, yesterday or the day before that, we hit our 45,000 door.
Suddenly I'm looking around and I'm like, wait, we have quadruple the people we originally had. We have an office. We have merch. We're getting, invited to events. We're getting YouTube ads out.
We had people coming up to Joe while we were canvassing saying, I want a job. I want to work for you. I believe in you.
So, as we got bigger and became more successful and more influential, we eventually were able to start getting real donations.
Like, the operation slowly but surely grew to like something like extremely big and like something that people like actually like not only care about, but they believe in. And like,
We're featured in the Inquirer. I don't know if some of you saw that. We're on the front page of the Inquirer in June. We just kept going. We kept moving. And now we're at the place where we employ about 35 people. full or part-time?
You know, I'm 18. This is the first time I'm going to be able to vote in any elections like this year, so it's a big thing for me to get involved in something like this.
We've gotten to do a lot of events together. I think my favorite so far was doing the produce drive out at Cotman and Walker.
My favorite event was when we gave out school supplies, we gave out food.
Something we heard in a Parkwood Facebook group, and a mother put out that her son and his girlfriend had been assaulted by a group. We thought, what if across from the park there had been cameras of this happening? And we did that. We got it done. We sent out, to my knowledge, 30 Ring cameras almost to this date.
I started working in politics for Councilman O'Neill when I was in high school. I founded the Politics Club at Holy Ghost. I actually served on the Philadelphia Youth Commission in high school. I was appointed by Brian O'Neill. I'd go down to City Hall and advise their governor's policy team on youth issues. I studied government at Georgetown, was a career scholar. Then I went to Capitol Hill for a year, walking into that big marble building every day. I was just making coffee there and that kind of thing, scheduling meetings. I wasn't super important. I learned a lot. And now I work at the Manhattan Institute. Think tank that studies urban policy, came up with broken windows theory. And so I'm very well prepared for this kind of thing. I've got really 15 years of experience in government, even though I'm 29 years old.
I feel like people are tired of seeing the same 5 similar looking prototypes of people running for office.
It felt really good to actually get a solid conversation with people from opposing parties.
This one guy, he was like, I don't really have faith for the Northeast anymore. I think everybody should just leave. And then me and Joe started talking, and I was just like, it's kind of sad that people think that way. That like there's no hope left for our community. Like that's not like what we should be envisioning. Or that's why I also am hopeful for the future, because there are people like Joe and like me who are still out here and who want that or are fighting for that. So
that was kind of the first idea of the campaign is, hey, you know, you don't have to invest in me, but invest in my efforts to improve the community.
But he's trying to, rethink politics, rethink how we approach politics, lead a bit of a revolution of decency.
So that's my hope, is that this campaign has a ripple effect in the political culture of Philadelphia and the political consciousness of the Northeast that inspires people to stand up and fight for our neighborhood. Who can you get involved to work with you this month to get together and work on a project to improve things? Who's going to go out and knock doors with that guy this weekend? Right? That's the politics of the possible. Like you can't flip the ascendancy, but you can help. Right? You can't feed all the starving people, but you can collect blankets and make sure some people stay warm. If you help 5 people, you did something real.
Doing just what you know how to do, go up to a door, knock it. Maybe your first door won't be very effective. Maybe your second door will be a little bit better, but then by the time you actually show up and keep trying and keep doing what people are teaching you to do, you're going to get good at it, and then you're going to become in the position to teach other people.
It's important to talk to your neighbor. You have to be able to talk to your neighbor if you want to live in a healthy neighborhood. I would just recommend that people know their local politician, because they have the most power over their problems.
Going back to what I said earlier, I really hope that this could be a model for the future. I want there to be more campaigns of service.
We're trying to lead by example, and we're running an experiment here. We've got people who don't vote who are saying, I wasn't planning to vote this election, but I will show up to vote for Joe. Democrats, Republicans, independents, people who were unregistered who decided to register to vote so they could vote for Joe. There's a buzz going on here with people seeing that this is different.
And one of the standout works of the 1900s, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl said, "For the first time in my life, I saw the truth as it is said in song by so many poets, proclaimed as the final wisdom by so many thinkers. The truth that love is the ultimate and highest goal to which men can aspire. Then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love and in love. If we choose to embrace this quest for meaning through love as the central motif of the new politics, we can build a future worthy of the aspirations of the endeavors of mankind.